Hey everyone, Vince Montero here, and welcome to the next set of videos for the PPC step-by-step guides. This one is for intermediate sellers, and I consider that to be any seller who is basically still in the beginning stages. Maybe you haven't yet built your first PPC campaigns, or maybe you have and you just kind of like to double check on some things. So these are for you. If you're a straight up beginner, there's a couple of videos ahead of these, so make sure you check out those for some of the foundational things that are required to understand PPC. But let's take a look. All right, the first thing that I kind of want to cover in this session is basically understanding the structure of campaigns. So in the last videos, we went over the framework of how it works within Amazon. Now we're talking about building out the campaigns and kind of what are some of the best practices around doing that. So let's first get to understand, some of the things that you're going to need to control regarding PPC or how to set them up. One of the ways to optimize these and be effective in rolling forward is basically setting them up so that you get the best organization and control. And that simply means that you understand, kind of the logic behind Amazon PPC, where obviously you're going to be spending money on different clicks for different campaigns. So the goal is to really have as much control as possible when it comes to that spend. So there are certain things that we cannot control when it comes to Amazon, and that includes the auto targeting campaigns, broad keyword match campaigns. Again, those were in the last video series if you want to know further about what auto campaigns are or broad match keyword campaigns. But these are simply campaigns that pretty much Amazon does on their own and will spend on different ads to show in front of your keywords or different ASINs to show, your products on. Another thing that we really can't control is how much money is being distributed between the ad groups or even the keywords within the PPC campaigns. So when you create a campaign with multiple ad groups, you effectively, give Amazon the ability to split that campaign budget up between those different ad groups, however it sees fit. So let's give an example of that so you have a firm understanding of some of the best practices regarding ad groups. Let's say you set up a campaign with a $100 daily budget, which is a great daily budget to start. You might have an assumption that you would spend $50 if you had two different ad groups within that campaign. Unfortunately, that's just not the way Amazon works. It's going to distribute the budget based on performance within, the different keywords within each of those ad groups. So let's give a further example and say you've got a $100 budget and you have 4 ad groups in a campaign. Again, you might think because you've got 10 keywords in each ad group that you're going to spend approximately $25 a day across all 4. When in reality, Amazon's going to spend that budget really all over the place. So in one ad group, you can have $38 to spend, 14 in the next. You can have 0 in one ad group and all of the money being going into another one. And we'll talk about why that primarily happens in a minute. So since we don't really have control over the budgets and they're not evenly spread across different ad groups, well, what's the answer? Pretty simple, and it's something that you guys have heard me say repeatedly. If you watch any of my other videos, we're going into more depth why here, but the answer is simple. Really just create only one ad group per campaign. That way you don't have that worry about where the money is being split up and how it's being spent. So same with keywords, very similar concept. I get this question a lot. How much spend will each keyword get? So we can't control how much spend each keyword gets. We can set the budget at the campaign level, and that's going to flow into the ad groups and into the keywords and again, get distributed by Amazon however they want to use it. So how many keywords per ad group or campaign? So based on some research that I've been doing and basically just being in this industry since 2017 and talking to Amazon as well, it's kind of a solid number between 5 and 20 keywords maximum. And again, this depends on search volumes, which we'll go into. And at that level, there should be enough money to go around so that all keywords get impressions, which is the point of testing keywords within campaigns, is that they do get some impressions. If you do any more than that, then you might have some keywords that don't get any impressions at all. Then you won't get the data that you need, and you really don't know if that keyword that you've added into the campaign is anything or not. So how you should split them up is basically looking at one campaign, one ad group. So we've got 4 different campaigns here. And if you have done your keyword research, as we talked about kind of in the last video, you should come up with a set of keywords that you're going to want to target for your PPC campaigns, but they should have different search volumes. You might have very high search volume keywords for maybe very broad types of keywords where, let's say, you're selling a dog collar and you just target dog collar. It's a very broad type of keyword, lots of search volume, very high search volume. You're going to want to put that into a campaign and in an ad group with no more than 1 to 5 of those types of keywords that have very high search volume. And then again, based on whatever your product is, the high versus low is gonna vary depending on your product and depending on competition. But in the next campaign, I would say high volume, no more than 10. Medium volume keywords, maybe 15 max, and low volume keywords, maybe 1 to 20 keywords max. So you can kind of get away with more keywords in an ad group when the search volumes get lower and lower, right? And the reason is because the high search volume keywords are going to take up all of the budgets. So campaign budget allocation, how much budget should each of my campaigns have? Another question I get quite a bit. And unfortunately, there really is not a single answer that I like to give personally. Amazon does give you pretty good recommendations when you're launching campaigns about what budgets should be. It does look at your keywords. It does look at your product. And so you can leverage that. But really, it's up to you to monitor your budgets and see what is going to work best for you. You can use the new budgets page to quickly see if you can have campaigns that are running out of budget. And I'll show you guys that in a minute. But the main tip here is if your budget's too low and it's continually running out, that means you're going to be missing out on data at different portions of the day. So especially if your campaigns are brand new, you just want to make sure you have enough budget so that they are spending throughout the day. You might think that your campaigns are going to perform better at certain times of the day, but everyone is on Amazon at different times of the day. They're all in different time zones as well. So you don't really know unless you have the data. Data collection really is the point of PPC at launch. Without that data collection, you really then don't have anything to optimize towards. So you need the data set first in order to then optimize campaigns down. Again, and budget allocation plays into that because if you're out of budget, then your campaigns might be off. So same thing with keyword budget allocation. How do we help control that? Again, another critical part of structuring different campaigns is keywords with different search volumes should not mix. And again, the reason behind this is that when you add high search volume keywords, low search volume keywords, all the budget's just going to go into those high search volume keywords. So that's why you want to, group those search volume keywords after you've done your research into their own separate campaigns and own separate ad groups so that you really don't have the problem of certain keywords sucking up all the budget and then not giving you the data that you need for all of your keywords that you have researched. So in order to give you a little bit more control over some of these things that we're talking about, I kind of wanted to dive into your PPC budget rules. So there's a lot of different ways Amazon has created over the past year and a half to really help you control your budgets. So one of the main ways is the new campaign budget rules. And budget rules simply allow you to set rules to increase your daily budgets, either for different shopping events that Amazon might find or based on performance metrics that you can actually set. So these are found within the campaign level in the menu, and I'll pop into Amazon so you understand what we're talking about. And there's two types of budget rules. Again, schedule-based, so you can set up a date, or performance-based, based on different metrics. There's also these rules as a continuation. These rules can be created per campaign for your products that may have high demand during certain periods. Now, it's only for increases. So these rules don't decrease if a campaign, say, is underperforming. It's only for increasing for maybe higher traffic times. And you can really drill down and select different percentages if you want to use performance to really tell Amazon how much you want that to be increased. So portfolio budget rules. This is another area that a lot of people don't leverage. First of all, if you're not using portfolios, you should be, especially if you do have a lot of campaigns. Maybe you've got a lot of different variations of the same type of product. You should be grouping your campaigns in a certain way into different portfolios. And I'm going to pop into an account so we can take a look at that further. But one of the things that you can do once you do have portfolios created is create some caps surrounding the different campaigns that happen to be running in those particular ones. So budgets beta. This is another great way. Again, I mentioned it earlier to kind of just at a glance, look at what's happening in your account. You guys maybe are used to seeing when you happen to be in the ads console, you might see such and such campaign is at a budget. Well, that's just at a moment in time when you happen to be in there. So what a best practice would be to use the budgets area and just check and scan for when or what campaigns do we see within a certain period of time that are actually going out of budget. Now let's pop over into Amazon so we could take a look at these. So here in the account, I'm just going to go ahead and start from the top of the menu that's right here. So portfolios, again, this is something that I mentioned that you do have some kind of controls over this particular account. They're just different bike racks. Each style has their own particular folder or portfolio. And then when you click into a portfolio after it's created, you have the option to modify the portfolio, okay? So you can change the name of it here, but right now, or you can see budget cap, there's no budget cap set. So that simply means I haven't actually selected any kind of budget cap for this portfolio. So what is great about this, again, is that you can tell Amazon a date range, budget cap, and when to start it and when to end it. So you can basically say, on a monthly basis, I only want to spend X amount of money in this particular set of campaigns, the campaigns that happen to be in this portfolio. That's the date range. The reoccurring monthly is setting the budget cap and then just saying, this is when I want it to end, or saying I never want it to end. So again, this is really helpful for these campaigns that you might, if you're smart and you're a little bit more advanced, you are actually using the portfolio level. Here at the main menu is also the budgets beta. They keep moving things around. This whole area used to be on the right-hand side. But the whole point of this page, again, is just to, at a glance, let you know within a certain time frame, let's go last 90 days, how many campaigns are running out of budget. So it basically sorts by average time and budget, because this is what it's really trying to showcase for you. So you can see here, there's some numbers that are under 100%. All these campaigns are 100%. That means in the past 90 days, they've been in budget 100% of the time. So really, it's only the ones that are 97% or anything below 100% that you can look at and say, okay, this is something that I might want to consider increasing the budgets, because obviously at some point during the day, I am running out of budget and these campaigns are being turned off. Now, if you've got campaigns that have been running for a while, you can really make a decision on whether or not you want to make those increases. You could look at maybe the ACOS. We see 28% here, 13% here. So this is probably something that I'd want to increase right away. This is a campaign that is performing well in the past 90 days at a 13% ACOS, which is pretty good. And Amazon is saying, go ahead and increase this by $150 from $300 to $450. So that is actually something I'm going to go ahead and apply. This other one, I'm not going to, because it's almost a 30% ACOS. So this is probably something I want to take a deeper dive into and then see if there's any way I can optimize it down. That spend will probably decrease and it won't be going out of budget. The other columns here, I really don't look at. I just leverage it for the reasons I just shared with you. But Amazon does give you estimated missed sales, estimated missed impressions, and estimated missed clicks, depending on how much time you were out of budget. But I'm not going to really reference that, or I don't really reference that as much as just leveraging it to see what's happening within the account over certain periods of time and decide if I want to actually go ahead and make any kind of adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and just click into a campaign, because the final one is the budget rules at the campaign level. So again, you have to actually click on individual campaigns, and then you see in the left-hand menu there a budget rule. Okay, so the budget rule, as I already stated before, is something that you can really use to control your budgets on different things. This Prime Day was something that just passed. So during Prime Day, some campaigns had different budget rules. You can do this based on the schedule, and you can do this basically, again, based on performance. The great thing about this section here in the date range, Amazon really lets you know when the next big shopping event it considers, what it considers the next big shopping event to be. Here it's recommended events, and that is Halloween. Now you can see Black Friday coming up, Christmas coming up, and then New Year's. Assuming pretty soon we'll start seeing the next Prime Day that's scheduled in October here as well. But right now that's not there because they probably haven't released the dates. But you can really plan ahead of time if you want. Black Friday that's always going to be every single year. So you could plan well ahead of time to increase your budgets on those date ranges, or you can just do a custom range. Let's say you have a seasonal product that you want to maybe really increase the budgets during that time. You can go ahead and put those there. You can do the reoccurrence biweekly or daily, and you have lots of different metrics that you can do the increases by: ACOS, CTR, CVR, and ROAS. And then, of course, you can just let it, the percentage that you want it to increase, you can go ahead and edit that there. So those are the main ways of, controlling your budgets across Amazon using really kind of some interesting automation that they've set forth or created in the past couple of years to really help you control your budgets within Amazon. And, once these are set, they're automated. So you should look at the dates or log a date and then just check maybe a few weeks later, a month later, depending on how you're doing your optimizations to see, how did this help the performance of my campaigns? The last thing I want to review is also within the Seller Center console. So we'll just pop back over into there. And it really is about campaign setup again. And that is simply your campaign titles. So a lot of people don't think about their titles when they're building out their campaigns, but it really is a key element to help you optimize more efficiently later on down the line, especially when you start getting a lot of different campaigns. So you can do it in different orders if you want, but primarily you want to put some key things into your campaign titles. You want to put, what type of campaign it is. You can see here, SP equals sponsored product, PT equals product targeting, PT campaign, video obviously is a video campaign, and so on. SB sponsored brand. So you really kind of want to, if you can, annotate the type of campaign that it is, and then what's the product, or what is the reason for the campaign. You can see this one's brand defense. So I know that simply means this is a branded keyword campaign. All the keywords in this campaign are going to be branded keywords, and it's for the type of product. This is the mountain bike rack, right? Some can be really simple. Video campaign for this type of rack. That just means to me, the sponsor brand, the regular video campaign. There's other video types of campaigns, but I went ahead and notate those as well. So you see here, this video campaign is for this type of bike rack, and it's the top of search placement. So that word, that one word lets me know the type of campaign this is. So if I want to look at any different type of product, I can put that campaign name in or that product name in. I see all the campaigns for that product. If I want to look at certain types of campaigns, for example, those keywords that are for top of search, I can just put in the word top, and then I see the different campaigns that I've created that have that particular strategy. So that's really the goal of your naming convention, is to come up with groups of names or a pattern that you can really easily identify the product, the strategy, maybe even match types if you want to break that down. Sometimes people put ASINs into their campaigns, but I don't know about you, I don't really memorize ASINs, especially if there's a lot of different ASINs. So I like to just say, hey, this is what the product is. So again, you can do any really way that you want to do it. I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw in this account, since I had it open, that naming your campaigns, the naming convention, is really helpful in really quickly being able to identify and go in and search for a certain campaign type and see what needs to be done. So hopefully you enjoyed this part 1 of this series, and make sure you check out part 2. Hopefully it's released pretty soon after this one, and make sure you subscribe for more of these types of videos.